topic before I pass it over to you, man. UFC boxing. I think we haven't covered this yet, but we covered certain people. It was a bloody matchup between Jamahal Hill and Glover. Is it Teixeira? I think that's his name. You saw this fight, James?
Yeah, I saw the aftermath, and that was pretty gory from what I saw.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, man. So Jamahal Hill, he won the match. And he didn't have any bloody marks. He had a little kind of like bump right here, but no blood whatsoever. Uh, how intense was this fight for y'all, man? I mean, it was pretty crazy.
I mean, I like UFC more than boxing just because there's not as much of the hugging and stuff.
Yeah.
But now to your question, I've never watched a match live where there was that much blood.
Yeah.
So that was kind of a shock because usually, I think of all the matches I've ever watched for UFC, the only time someone got cut, it was actually a woman's match. She got kicked on the head and it cut her on the forehead.
Yeah.
But man, it was a really blood match. Like it gave like a WWE type vibe. But this is like the real thing. So
right, no, yeah, definitely. It's way more intense than boxing for sure. It was really intense, man. Especially in that fourth round for Glover, man. I mean, he was getting like he was bad. Like he was getting sore. And kind of when they showed the clip of the blood running down Hill's face, it was like, okay, so he's bleeding in his head. Like you couldn't really see it, but it was a cut somewhere.
Is this what UFC fans want to see, or they probably want to see less blood but more like brutality? I guess fight wise.
I think this what makes it more exciting, though. I think the blood and stuff like that, because I mean, if you're fighting and nobody's getting dominated, it kind of gets boring after a while. I mean, Glover just got dominated, and the sad part about it, he has way more experience than Hill fights and defeats. So it's like you would expect, and I'm pretty sure he's much older. You expect the older to be, kind of different. But if we get into their stats, he's had 12-1-0, and Glover is 33-9-0. So that's a big difference. It's definitely a big difference in the numbers for sure. And then our second question: what was Glover lacking most in this fight, and why y'all think he lost? I'll start with you.
I mean, since I didn't get to really watch it like second by second, I mean like the way I just see UFC is it literally takes like one kick, one wrestling move or one punch just to change the whole trajectory of a fight. Like I'm not sure if y'all ever seen it. There was like one fight where one guy dropped a guy, and so he went to go finish him, and the guy ended up kicking him in the face and knocked him out. Yeah. Like it's that quick in UFC. So I wouldn't say, obviously, the way I say it with UFC fighters, man, you have to have a killer's mentality, man. Yeah. Once the octagon closes, like, there is no being nice, man. Like, you can kick someone in the leg and your leg will be the one that breaks. So,
yeah.
I wouldn't say he was lacking anything. I just think, Hill had a better game plan and, executed it. And, Glover just wasn't able to recover in time.
Yeah. James, how you feel about it?
Yeah, I really like what you said about how things can change really quickly in UFC, and that's much different than a lot of other sports where when somebody gets ahead, they're able to just continue dominating.
Yeah.
And this kind of reminds me of that killer mentality. I was listening to Sugar Sean O'Malley talk on the Steve-O podcast, and he was saying that he doesn't like getting into a fight, which I thought was pretty interesting. Like, he doesn't enjoy fighting in general, but he likes fighting. So it was a little confusing, but it was kind of interesting the way he broke it down.
Okay. Yeah. Definitely. For me, just to finalize it, man, his lack of defense. I mean, he was leaving his face wide open, taking a lot of nose, because, they play it in slow-mo, and it makes it look way bad, like worse than kind of fast-paced. But, he took a lot of insane hits. So, I mean, yeah, that's pretty much it as far as that. And then our last question, before I pass it over to you, based off this bloody fourth round, should they stop the fights when it gets too bloody like that? Like if one opponent is just can barely see blood, this and that, should they kind of stop it? I'll start with you.
Only if it's like serious blood loss and it's a serious cut, but otherwise, if they can still fight, I think they should just keep
fighting.
Going.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. Like long as eye is not completely shut, where you know you can see through both eyes, I think you should be fine.
Yeah, definitely. I think so too. I think that they should definitely do it, but I feel like kind of what he said, if it's to where you can't see, but the fighter still wants to fight, then no.
Yeah, Michael Bisping, I think he lost an eye getting kicked in the face during a UFC match.
Wow.
He has a glass eye now. I think he still fights with a glass eye too.
Wow, that's great. Yeah, so it's pretty intense on the UFC world. But y'all let us know how y'all feel about that match. And what's your Glover? Who does he fight next? We'll keep y'all updated. But James, I'm gonna pass it over to you. What else we got?
Well, we are going J&J Sports coming to y'all with more in 2024.